So we have our configuration manager environment almost set up for us. So what do we have today? So we have the configuration manager server. We have some roles, so managing point, distribution point, fallback status point, and we have the SQL Server reporting services, so for reporting. We also have our boundary group setup. So we have those things already. So if we have one configuration manager client here, this client can, let's put here Active Directory, can communicate if we Active Directory and discover the management point, or if we install the client and say this is the management point, this is the configuration manager, it also can connect directly to the management point. And based on the boundary groups that configuration the management point will tell us, we know which server we can connect to. So then we can download stuff from the distribution point. However, how this client connect to distribution point? This connection needs to be authenticated. So we use port 8 or 443, but the client connection needs to be authenticated. So there are a couple of options. One, we disable the authentication. So this is less secure because we enable anonymous access. Okay. The other option is all machines are domain joined in Active Directory. So we use the computer account to actually do the connection. This is very secure because we don't use username and password. And the third option, we use a network access account that we are going to have a username and password, and it's also not less secure, but is not as secure as the Active Directory one, but it will allow OS deployment and will also allow work group machines. So let's look at the first one. So disabling the Active Directory authentication. So this we will do here on administration on the distribution point. So we do distribution point properties, and we have here allow clients to connect anonymously. So if the client is a work group client or during OSD, it will send a request and the configuration manager does not care. It will return the data it requested because then I allow anonymous access. Okay, so this is one option. The other option, so the first one is disable authentication, so enable the anonymous access. The other option, you only look at Active Directory domain join machines. This also means you will not work with work group machines, and it will not allow OS deployment. Because during the OS deployment, we are Windows PE, there is no computer information in Active Directory. And the third one is using network access account. So in this scenario, we are going to use network access account. So to do this, we are going to the site administration, site configuration, sites. We go to component status, software distribution. And we can have here network access account tab. So here, we are going to use the computer account of the configuration manager client. So this is the option 2. And for the option 3, we specify a account. So then we can add a new account or existing account. remember, this is a new account or existing account in Configuration Manager environment, not Active Directory. The account needs to exist in Active Directory. So I'm going to select a new account. So, and I'm going to use the SVC SCCM NA, is the network account. And I put here the password. And you can verify if the password you type is correctly, so you can use down a net share. So I'm going to use SRV0002 SMS001. Then the account was successfully verified. So basically means I have the password correctly. Okay, and click OK. If you have multiple domains, so imagine that this will be down to on the client. If you are managing multiple domains, then this is the account is going to be used to connect to the distribution point. It basically means if you have multiple domains, you need to have one account for each domain that's going to connect. And this is for the whole site, is not that specific client, it's for the whole client. So any account you put here, every single client will know about. So let's click OK. So now what happened, we configure Configuration Manager. So the Configuration Manager client will use a network access account to be able to do the work. Okay? We have here the network access account. Now, so we remember that we said about the distribution point. Distribution point is a file share. So, but we need, let's go here to client. Every time, distribution starts contents. Every time you want the Configuration Manager client to use some content, we need to send this content to a distribution point. So this content here are on a distribution point. Let's go back here on distribution point, and if you right click properties, you can see here in the content tab every single package that is on this distribution point. Now imagine that you have one distribution point. It's really simple to send the package to or the file to one distribution point. But if you have 2, 3, 4, 5, you need now to start sending to 1, 2, 3, 4. This was true on SCCM 2007. So Microsoft changed a bit on 2012 and came with the idea of distribution point groups. So you add distribution points to a group, and every time you send the content to a distribution point group, Configuration Manager will send it to every single member of that distribution point group. So if you have 10 distribution points, you add every single one of them in a distribution point group, and then instead of sending to every single one distribution point and may miss one, you just send it to a distribution point group. This is what we are going to do now. So we are going to right click a distribution point, add, select items, and you can see add it to new distribution point group or existing one, like we did with the boundaries and boundary group. But what I'm going to do here is going to create manually. So I come with administration distribution point group, and I'm going to create a new distribution point group, and I'm going to call this training lab. And here I have all the distribution point groups that will be member of this distribution point. So I'm just going to select here the SRV002 is our distribution point. And as you can see here is on-prem, so I could have also cloud distribution points. And click OK. So now, every time I send any content to a distribution point group called Training Lab, this distribution point will be automatically received. If tomorrow, for example, I have, let's say, 10 packages already on the distribution point group called Training Lab. Tomorrow, I create a new server called SRV0003. As soon as I add this distribution point to the distribution point group, Configuration Manager will identify, oh, I have this distribution point that's not is part of a group but doesn't have the content. So I will automatically distribute the content to the distribution point. And the other thing that it has is collections. So what you can see here, you can select collections. We are not going to do this right now. And say every time you send or deploy a package to a collection, it will automatically send it to this distribution point. Okay, we are not going to do this. We are going to only to stick with this part here for the distribution point members at the moment. So in this case, I will click OK. So now we have our environment with the distribution points, distribution point groups. Interesting of the distribution point group. So if I go here to the properties, on the content, I will see all the content that's been distributed to a distribution point group. Same with the distribution point. I can see here there are some content only distributed to a distribution point instead of group. Those are the default packages. And on the monitoring, I can have this option here, distribution point group status. So I can say, how is my compliance about every single distribution point I have, for example, on my environment, not just on the content stats here. Okay, so what do we have seen? So we have seen how to configure the distribution point group, the access the content. So now we are almost ready to start having clients. So there is still a few things to go, and I hope to see you in the next video.